All right, so we are back with another episode of Painted Haint. I decided to call it the Halloween Bash instead of Extravaganza. So we are back, and I am telling you, let me straighten my list of scary things and not so scary things to watch, and this is part two. So the first thing we're going to watch or talk about is Shudder. This, I don't know if you can call it an oldie but goodie. I mean, it did come out in the early 2000s. But this movie is next level. Oh my god. it's Japanese horror. And it's about this man who moves to Tokyo with his, I think that's his girlfriend or his wife, significant other. And he, like, I think they hit a girl on a street, on a like deserted road outside Tokyo, and this girl, they figure out, starts haunting them actually. And you really don't know why she's doing it, other than like, oh, you hit me and then left me for dead. But the twist, oh, the twist. And there are little signs to lead you to the twist. So I would encourage you to watch it. I'm trying not to spoil it, but just watch it. It's so good. It was one of the first, like, not foreign horror, but like Japanese horror movies that I saw, and I was like, what? So yeah, they have a foreign version. The one that I watched was actually the American version. So we're going to talk about Nosferatu. So Nosferatu is the original vampire, and I forgot to put my earrings in. Oh well. So Nosferatu is the original vampire, other than Dracula. Anyways, this movie isn't so much scary as far as the subject matter, but the reason I put it on the list is because silent movies freak me the hell out. Silent movies are just, I don't like them. I mean, I've tried to watch them. I used to watch on TCM Silent Sundays. First of all, it came on super late at night, and then there were silent movies. Ew. No. And I mean, even like the happy ones, you're just like, there's something very uncanny valley about silent movies for me. And I just think it's because of the time I was born in. We had, talkies. So it kind of messes with, I guess it messes with my senses is what it is. Like, it's like I can see what's going on, but I can't hear what's going on. But Nosferatu was on this list because, first of all, the actor who played it, apparently he got way into his role. And I forgot what his name is. I'll put it down in the not the byline, excuse me, the lower third. But the actor got way into his role. So that's like a part of the creepy factor, and just the way he looks. And actually, there's an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark that has Nosferatu, and that's actually the first time that I saw that character. So also, if you want to watch that, that's not Phantom of the Megaplex. My God, that was a Disney movie. But I'll put that episode in reference to Nosferatu in the lower third for you, so you can have a sort of double feature. So the next movie is The Changeling. Not Changeling, not the Angelina Jolie film, but The Changeling. This movie is so good. It is so good. It's a classic ghost story, and it is done so well. So it stars an actor by the name of George C. Scott, and he plays this author. He was a musician, a violinist. I know he plays a string instrument, and he's a music composer. Sorry, he's a music composer, and his family, his wife and child, are killed in this horrible automobile accident, and so he moves up to Washington State, and he rents this. This is how rich this man is. This man rents a mansion, just for some quiet time, and he starts to find out that the house is haunted by this little boy, because it's a lot of childish activities. So like there's a scene with a bouncing ball that destroyed my life, and it leads him on to a mystery related to the it's a politician. I think he's a senator, and that movie, it's on Tubi, and I watch it every year. I might watch it tonight, but it is so good. It's so good. Like, you have to watch it. And there are some scenes that I somehow missed. I don't know how I zoned out when I initially saw this movie, but there is one scene where they go to this other person's house because they find out, I think that's where the boy was buried or something like that. And God, the way that this little boy is haunting this house. Specifically, it's in the little girl's room where, like, he's buried. Like, it's on underneath her room. So, yeah. The Changeling. You gotta watch it. It's really good. It's really good, and it is really scary. It's just one of those movies that is so well done. And so creepy and so scary. And oh my God, and George C. Scott does really good. Not that I don't think he would do bad. He was a pretty well established actor at the time. But yeah, so that is The Changeling. So now we go on to a movie that I recently saw with my dad a couple days ago. So I've always heard of this movie, but never got a chance to watch it until now. And this is Steven Spielberg's made-for-TV film, Duel. Duel is a simple story. Duel is about a man on his way home. Or no, he's not on his way home. He's on his way to somewhere. He's a businessman. And he runs afoul of this guy in this truck, this 18-wheeler. And this basically this man is chased down by this truck. And it's all because, like, he cut him off or something. And you think, like, the way I'm describing it, you're like, oh, it's whatever. No, it's not. It kind of gets to you. Because you start to sympathize with the guy, with the main character, our protagonist, if you want to be literary about it. Yeah. There are some scenes in that movie that are so suspenseful. And you're just like, why is this? The whole question is why? Why is he doing this to this man? And this man is like freaking out to the point where he like gets in a fight with a truck driver because he thought that was a truck driver who was terrorizing him. But yeah, that movie, it's a simple plot, and I would say that it is, I don't want to say simply done, but it's just like very straightforward, and it's not per se scary as it is unnerving. I don't know, it does get pretty scary because it's like it's almost like no one believes him that this truck is running up on him like that. I mean, like I said, there are some scenes in that movie where you're like, oh shit, this is getting real. And I mean, if you've ever heard of the movie, you know what the plot is, but you don't know like what the plot, like what's going on, like what is, you're like, oh, okay, this truck runs up on this car and terrorizes him throughout the desert. And there's some things, like me and my dad actually got into a sort of debate about this, but you'll see that the truck has these different license plates or tags on the front of his truck. And my theory for that is those are the victims that he attacked, like that he, got a hold of. I think and my dad said also that was a common way that they would show for trucks specifically, like what states they're registered with. But I'm like, I don't know. Yes, of course. But I think that he's registered in those states, and he was also terrorizing these people. And this was his next victim. And he was going to get the license plate and be like, yeah, now on to more terrorizing, on to taking out more cars with people in them. So that is Duel. And now we are going to go on to 2001: A Space Odyssey. Now this movie, I'm going to warn you, in the beginning, you're like, what the flip is this? I actually watched it after I had gotten, I had to get a vaccine for my job. And I have real bad, for some vaccines, I get real bad side effects. And so I was in bed. And I was like, 2001's on. So I watched it. And the beginning, I will warn you, is you're like, monkeys jumping around. There's a big silver staple machine standing out in the ground. What the flip is this? But the real scares, that's just, okay, Kubrick. Stanley Kubrick did the movie. But it gets creepy when you start to see how isolated these people are in space, because this movie takes place in space, and it's the name 2001: A Space Odyssey. And you have these two men, where's actually the crew, and you have this computer called HAL 9000. I think it's 9000. Actually, Recess is going, the cartoon Recess will parody this. So, double feature. Watch that episode. And Recess has some good Halloween episodes. But watch that episode of Recess in 2001: A Space Odyssey together. So, anyways, back to the movie 2001. So, Hal apparently gets a little pissed at the humans. And it starts tripping balls. Next level. He does the most. Murderously. Is that a word? Hal does it. So, the famous quote from this is, "I'm sorry, I cannot do that, Dave." Now, this is all from the scene in which Dave is trying to get Hal to open the damn hatch to the space station, or to the spaceship, and he's like, "I'm sorry, Dave, I cannot do that." And he's very clinical. He's he's cold is what that is. He's cold and unfeeling when he says it. And Dave is like, "Well, what the fuck," So Dave has to throw down with his computer. And there's a little bit of kind of creepiness in the beginning when we first get to the space station. So there's a crew leaving, or a group leaving, and they're talking about something happening at this other space station. So I'm assuming that Hal was messing with them too, and probably did some what to them. But yeah, 2001, just once you get past the monkeys jumping around the big staple machine, it gets good. It gets really good. And just it just looks so cold and just unfeeling, which I think is what they're trying to say about space. And also technology is taking over. I don't know. I'm not getting deep. I'm just telling you, or suggesting rather, what you should watch for your Halloween pleasure. And now we go to the movie 1922 on Netflix. Stephen King's 1922. This movie, I watched this as a double feature with Gerald's Game. Gerald's Game is good. 1922 though. I mean, oh my god. So 1922, first of all, I'm also reading the novella right now, but 1922 is about this man who basically confesses to killing his wife. And he's telling the story as to why and how he killed his wife. Now, the reason that he kills his wife is because she wanted to sell their farm of 180 acres. And he don't want that. And it is, it's Stephen King, so it's going to be gruesome. It's going to be creepy. There's going to be some symbolism, too. He'll make you think, Stephen King. So, it's like a chain reaction. Like, all this stuff starts happening. And the scene that gets me is when, there are two scenes, actually. It's when he sees his wife. So, it's kind of giving The Color Purple when, what's name's like, till you do right by me, and like the house starts falling apart. So the house is like a hot ass mess because he's got no money for real. I think his crops are failing by this point. His son, who aided him in the murder, has run off with his pregnant girlfriend. And so now his name is Wilfred. Wilfred is left in the house by himself. And there's a part where he's sitting in the kitchen and they've got one of those old like screen door, I guess it's really like a wooden screen door type situation. And it starts like opening and closing. And at first he thinks it's the wind. And it's never really like discussed or really told that it's in his head or he's like really seeing his wife. But his dead wife is just standing there and she's like covered in blood. Oh, it's gross. It's heinous. And he gets freaked the flip out. The second scene that gets me is at the end when his now dead son, the son's girlfriend who also dies, and his wife, Wilfred's wife, is standing there at the end as he's finishing up because he was writing a confession. And they're standing there in all their like gruesome glory, and the son is just like, hey dad, it won't hurt. And you're like, what won't hurt? What are you about to do? But that imagery, absolutely not. Good, but scary. And actually it's a good story too. It'll suck you in because you're like, wait. This man, I mean, first of all, it's both in the novella and in the movie. My man just comes out the gate with, in 1922, I killed my wife. Oh, okay. You do that. Let me tell you how. No, but I listen. It's just one of those movies that sucks you in. So I would definitely recommend 1922. We have is called Marrowbone. So Marrowbone is the story of this family who moved to the United States from the UK. And they have this big house, and they have their mother there, and they're just like a very tight-knit family. And you kind of figure out that she's running from her ex-husband, and they just all skied up and left the UK. So there's this one main character whose name I can't recall. I think he's the oldest brother. And after the mother dies, and it's up to him and his siblings to kind of, keep everything going. And you see them going through their day to day, but the whole time, the youngest sibling, he keeps saying there's a ghost in the house. There's something wrong with the house. And so you go down this road of like, there's something wrong with the house. But then like, you start to see that things are a little off. And the twist. y'all, if you haven't seen, first of all, I'm gonna warn you, it's a slow drag. It's one of those movies that, you know, it draws out and it kind of lulls you into a sense of comfort because you think, oh, this is just a simple classic ghost story. But I'm not gonna tell you the twist. I want to, but I'm not gonna tell you, and you're gonna have to watch it for yourself. First of all, tell me why all the kids kind of look like the Weasleys. Like, they give me, at first I thought that was Rupert Grint, and it was not. Because I was like, damn, these kids are like the Weasleys. Or maybe it's because it was like a bunch of kids, which is so offensive, but they just have that look. Like that Weasley look, you know. But yeah, I definitely watch it and watch for the twists. It's actually kind of sad, but it's good at the same time because you're like, damn. Whoa. And it involves the older brother, so I'll give you those clues. So the next movie we're going to talk about is Crimson Peak. Crimson Peak is a gothic horror story, and it is, well, Guillermo del Toro is the one who does the movie, so you know there's going to be like some weird ass imagery. Beautiful, yet weird. So Crimson Peak tells the story of a woman by the name of Edith, who's a writer, and she ends up getting married to, after some up circumstances, she marries this English man. Well, tell me why his name escapes me. I mean, I know the actor is Tom Hiddleston, but she marries this man, and he's got this sister who is, we will say she's overbearing. If you've seen the movie, you know what I mean. But you find out that they're plotting to kill this woman for her money, and it's because they're what we call in the South, I think it's house poor, where they've got the house, but that's it. And the thing about it is, the husband actually starts to love Edith. Like, he's like, oh, she's all right, because she kind of frees him from his creepy ass sister. So he's like, this is what a healthy relationship looks like. And it has got some creepy energy, and I mean creepy imagery, and like the mind games they play with this poor woman. Oh my god, like, she's like, the house is haunted, and you know, and her husband's like, nah girl, nah, you just tripping. Those are just the pipes, babe. Did someone die in this house? Nah, girl, what? Girl, you crazy. that's literally the energy that they give this poor girl. And oh my god, and that sister is like super possessive of her little brother. So not only is this a grown ass man, but this is also her younger brother, whom she is like really into. There's a scene where she gets mad at Edith for going without telling her where they were, notably her brother. This woman grabs hot scrambled eggs with her hands, and she's just like, and I'm like, that bitch is crazy. Get out of there. Oh my god, get out of there. And the whole time, or prior to her getting married to this man, she has these dreams, these nightmares, really. It's a good movie. Like, I like gothic horror. And the imagery is good. Excellent. I mean, like, even showing how they did it, I was still like, that's scary. I don't like that. That scene when that like lady's crawling, that ghost lady's crawling down the hall. The House of Usher. So this is based off of The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe, and this is a Hammer horror movie. It takes liberties, but it's one of those movies I would say to have on while you're making a costume or something. The Lost Boys. The Lost Boys. I have had a love affair with this film since I was a child. I love this movie. Oh my God. I love it. I love it. So if you don't know, The Lost Boys is a vampire film. It is about these boys that move in with their granddad and their mom to this town, and there are all these disappearances popping off. And you start to figure out that it's because they're getting turned into fucking vampires. And then lo and behold, his older brother gets turned into a vampire because he is with this girl called Star, who is also a vampire. And you get to see a young Kiefer Sutherland. He was good looking. He was fine as a vampire. My dude from Bill and Ted is in there as a vampire, but it's, oh God, my nose. I feel like my makeup's trying to come off, but it is a good movie. It's just like, it's a good popcorn movie. I remember I found it at Big Lots and I was so excited. I was so excited to like watch it in my new apartment. I mean, it was just, man, September, October came around. I was like, all right, first movie going into DVD is The Lost Boys, and I watched it, and it is on my list. Plus, and if you don't have it, you can get it on like AMC. If you have AMC, I think it's on Tubi, Netflix, I think has it, Hulu, all the streaming services. You just have to search it up, and you'll see it. Let's see, The Blair Witch Project. See, now we're taking it back. The Blair Witch Project, a movie that came out when I was a mere child. I finally saw this movie in college. The reason I did not watch it up until that point is because my older brother scared the hell out of me. Because he was like, it's real. It really, dude, it really happened. Like, bro, it really happened. You know? and me believed every bit of it. I mean, that movie is so scary. Oh my God. I mean, I did get annoyed though when the girl started. That's how dead inside I am. I did get mad or annoyed when the girl started screaming at the end. Because I was like, okay, we see him in the corner. We got it. The witch got him. That's so mean. But, yeah, it's a good movie. I love it. I absolutely adore it. Even if we know that it's not real, it's one of the first found footage films. Now, when they start going to like all the sequels, don't watch those. Just watch the first. Freaks. Freaks is a movie. This is when Hollywood did not care what Hollywood gave. Not a damn about people and PC and like, you know, any of that sort of thing. They were just exploiting the hell out of people. So I think this came out in the early 30s, Freaks, and it is about these circus performers or carnival performers, and they all have some kind of disability or talent. And first of all, the story behind this, like the stuff happening on the lot, like how, you know, they hired all these freaks and had them, you know, eating in the commissary or the cafeteria with the rest of like the regular actors, and the actors were like, ew, that person has no arms, like that kind of thing. It's so trifling. But Freaks tells the story of a little person, he's a man, and this regular sized woman, and she's going to marry him. I think his name was Tiny Tim. But then you find out that she's marrying him because he's got mad money and she's gonna murder him. And the other circus actors, performers find out, and they're gonna F her up. So, man, they get her good. And at the no, I can't. I'm not gonna tell you the end, but you want to see some unnerving ish from the early 30s. Watch Freaks, and what I will say, I guess, is could be an appreciation, is that they had like all like walks of life in the movie. I mean, as far as like of color, but they were black folk, and they were not playing, servants or like, flipping minstrel show blackface. They weren't doing all that. There was one guy I remember specifically, and he only had a torso, and I think he had arms, but that was it. For him. But it's a good movie. And they have a chant when they run up on her. Oh, it's great. it's very good. I don't even know who introduced me to that movie. I think it was just on TCM, and I was like, I want to watch this. And I was like, holy shit. This is next level. Black Sabbath, not the band with Ozzy Osbourne. This is an Italian giallo movie. I hope I said that right. Giallo or giallo? And it's like an anthology of stories. The first story is my favorite. And I'm not saying that because it's the first one. I didn't watch the rest. No, I watched the whole thing. But the first one is my absolute favorite. The imagery is great. The story is great. Even if it's in Italian, like, you can see what's popping off. Because they have the English version. And it's come on Turner Classic Movies. But they also have the Italian version. I think the Italian version is actually streaming on Tubi. So, the first story I will tell you involves this woman who is a nurse. And this woman whom she's taking care of has just died. I want to say her mother. Either way, she was nursing home, the woman died. And so the woman gets there, and the woman who was the nurse is like, she owed me. So she steals her ring. And when she steals her ring, this sets off a chain of creepy events. And so she goes back to her little apartment, and, she's doing her thing, and like all this weird stuff starts happening, mainly involving a fly. Ew. And it turns out, like, because basically it's like because she stole this ring, she's being haunted by this woman. And the woman, I'm going to spoil it. I mean, the woman actually scares her to death. The second, because they switch it around in the Italian version. The second story is about this woman who is a call girl, essentially. And she is being like tormented by this man whom she, was some arm candy for, and probably a little more, a little bed candy as well, shall we say. And she ends up getting like I said, tormented by this woman, by this other man. So she has this friend come over, and now they're tormented together. And now we are going to go, I got some more. So, Miami Vice. Let's talk about some TV shows. So, we got Miami Vice. Miami Vice has an episode, I'm going to say that what I think the name is, but, I'll put it in the lower third, if I didn't get it right, what the actual name is. So, if I remember correctly, the episode, it's called Tale of the Goat. And it involves, it's Haitians, and they're, this is Miami Vice. So I think they were smuggling something. Probably people, illegally into the country. But they're also like a voodoo, I won't say cult, but they're voodoo practitioners. And of course, our boys Crockett and Tubbs, Uncle Rico and Crockett Pot, don't believe in it, especially Tubbs, because he is a New Yorker and they don't believe in shit, So he's the one that infiltrates this group because he's of color and it's the 80s, and they probably be like, what is this white man doing here? So he goes in and they figure him out, and they F him up real good. And it's scary because like he starts tripping balls, man, because they give him tetrodotoxin, which is blowfish poison, which is what is like the mechanism of turning people into zombies. Don't ask me why I know that. But they end up like messing him up. This man is in the hospital wilding out of control. Like he is, wow. And in true procedural crime drama badassery, he gets up out the hospital and is like, oh no, I gotta this up. Like I gotta get this straight. And he's still tripping. Like he's like seeing things while he's like, in this gunfight. But I love that episode. Actually, Miami Vice is one of my favorite like old school shows. But yeah, tell the GOAT. Whoa. I didn't know they had it in them. I did not know they had it in them. CSI Miami. Let's go. So that episode, that's not Let's Go, it's not the name of the episode, but I can't remember the name actually. This one, I think that was actually, if that was Tell the GOAT, I'm gonna be so mad. But anyways, this involves this woman who, much like in Miami Vice, it was a white lady practicing voodoo. She murdered somebody, and they keep finding like these little coffins. And this is when I got introduced to what Santeria is. And shout out to my boy Eric. He was like, I ain't touching that. Catholic, I don't fuck with that. Excuse me. He was like, absolutely not. And of course his partner who's with him that day, Ryan, is like, I'm gonna touch it. And he's just poke, He's like filling up this goat head. Meanwhile, Eric's like, white people gonna white people. So, things start happening. Like, Ryan loses feeling, I think, in his hands, and he goes blind. And, I mean, it all goes back to science, because it's CSI. But, like, he's freaking out because he's like, I touched it. And Candy Alexander, who plays ME, is like, you touch what? And he's like, the GOAT. Eric was right. The computer that they took from the lady, it was a laptop. It explodes or something. Our Latino lumberjack Eric brings in a axe. He sets this axe down, and it cracks the glass table that they do stuff on. And the table, like, it like explodes. I don't know what happened, but now, like, the lady who was in there, Natalia, is in there, and she's like, what the fuck? Like, she's got all this glass on her face, because while they're talking, this thing pops off. And I'm really surprised no one side-eyed my boy Eric. Like, really? You owe her a goddamn apology. But they all, like, attribute it to this curse. And then they don't catch the lady. So they're like, she got away with it. And at the end, they show you that she's sitting on a beach. And as long as she has this little mini Santeria coffin, she's fine. But if she loses it, she's up the creek. So that was that episode. Those two crime procedural drama type situations. So underneath those two, I have What We Do in the Shadows. Now this is comedic. I've seen the movie. I don't know, I prefer the show. Maybe, I don't know. But I would say watch the movie too, just in case you don't prefer the show. So, What We Do in the Shadows is done in this like reality show type thing, almost like The Office, and it follows these vampires, and they're familiar. Guillermo, I love Guillermo, bless his heart, that live in this house together, and it's like all the stuff they go through, and it is one of the funniest shows I have ever seen. It is so funny. I can't pinpoint an episode that I like that I find funny, because to me all the ones I've seen are hilarious. And it's just a good palate cleanser after you watch something like, 1922. Yeah, What We Do in the Shadows is hilarious, and I would definitely advise you watch it. Now for the honorable mentions. So, The Worst Witch. That show is so adorable to me. They had the movie version with, what's his name? He played It. You know what I'm talking about. Tim Curry. He's in like the original version. And also Fairuza Balk from The Craft is in there. You know, the crazy one. She was Mildred Hubble. So, The Worst Witch, if you don't know, it's like Hogwarts, but it's an all-girls school. And you got this one character named Mildred Hubble who's like the antithesis of Harry Potter. She is far from the chosen one. And she just gets in all this stuff. She's got her friends. She's friends. She's even got her own little Draco Malfoy. I mean, but it's such a cute show. And it's very like on the nose as far as like witch Halloween stuff. But it's a really cute show. And so I would advise that to watch with children. Or, if you like nostalgia and you remembered the original version and you want to watch, they got one on Netflix that's really cute. Hocus Pocus. And I'm wearing you can't see it, but I'm wearing my Sanderson Sisters Museum shirt. You already know what Hocus Pocus is about. I'm not even going to explain it to you, because you should know. And if you don't, I'd say look it up. But, yeah, you gotta have that on. That's a carving pumpkin movie. Yeah. That's a bacon, those little Pillsbury pumpkin cookies that I can't bake for some reason. Yeah, you already know. That's a classic. We don't even need to know why it's good. It's Hocus Pocus. That's why. So, Halloween. Now I'm gonna be honest. This isn't my favorite movie, but I can appreciate it. I mean, what I do like though is that Laurie Strode and Michael Myers are just always about that action. Tomorrow, September 1st, they're training. They probably been training all summer to beat each other's ass. I mean, and I really think that Michael Myers has like mad respect for her. So now it's just a tradition. They just throw down on the 31st. I really, truly, in my heart, believe that's what that's about. Like, oh, hey, Laurie, want to square up? I heard that last one, she beat the brakes off of him. Like in the last movie, she tore him up. But yeah, like it's not. You know what? I've seen it so many times that I just kind of put it out of rotation because it's on. So so I'll watch it. Eyes Without a Face. I put this on the honorable mentions because this is one of those like uppity French movies. Not uppity. It's not, no, I won't say uppity. It's one of those movies where like it's just, you always hear like film snobs, I said what I said, talk about it. That's like, it's such a good movie. And it is. It really is. It's kind of gross. But it's about a man who basically is killing women in Paris, young women rather, to be exact. He's getting young women in Paris. And then he is taking them to his home, taking off their face, and then giving it to his daughter's face. To his daughter. Because she was in an accident where she has no face. And so she walks around with a mask on. And I don't know, I mean, it's a good movie. But I mean, it's like, if you like reading subtitles, definitely watch this movie. And I don't want to say if you like reading subtitles, but no, it is just a really good movie. Cool story. Kind of gross for the 50s. I think it came out in the 50s or 60s. Dark Shadows, not the Tim Burton movie. Although there is one scene that cracks me up in that movie. And it is when Johnny Depp is walking around town as Barnabas Collins. And the way he just creeps about cracks me up. But Dark Shadows, the TV show. Specifically The Vampire's Curse. There's something very comforting about it. I think it's the way it's filmed. It's like this soft, 1960s, 70s type way of filming. And it's very comforting to sit and watch. And you do kind of get sucked into it. I have never seen a character so hell-bent on messing up a person's life. Angelique, man, she is something else. She is about that action. She was like, oh, you like Josette? Okay. I don't see it, but okay. And this is a special one. The Crucible. The reason I add The Crucible to this is because, well, it deals with witches. But also, we actually read it around September, October, so around this time of year. And I don't know, it's like it has a true crime feel to it, because to me it is a crime. I mean, you murdered these men and women off of some girls who got caught dancing in the forest and who were tripping on ergot, allegedly. They actually said that's not true, but I don't know. It was on something. That are drunk on power. Now, I'm going to say this, and this is a hot take. Don't watch the show Salem. I love the costumes, but no. Watch The Crucible. Great acting. Creepy in the way that because of their foolishness, Salem is hella haunted. They say that Gallows Hill, which is near some houses, is like they hear screams and moans at night over there. So I actually might do a video on Salem, I don't know, a year. So that is the end of this video, and I will see you on the next video. Also, remember to follow me on Instagram at painted underscore Haint21, or you can type my name in, Adri Hayes. You can also follow me on Tumblr at KWRiri, or on TikTok. And once again, you can just type my name in because my name is not common. So I will see you on the next special video for the Halloween season. Bye.